When we hear the term money printing, what do we think? Intrinsically, we think of money coming from a printer or from a money gun, right? Well, that's not technically what's going on here. I mean, yes, sure, we have physical dollar bills that obviously come from a money printer because, I mean, let's just face it, money doesn't just fall from the sky. More on that later. But the reality is, there's quite a bit more to it. Let's debunk this real quick. But before we do, I'm Barixis. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new, welcome. I post my regular content every Wednesday and I post YouTube shorts every single day. If you want to keep up, please subscribe with that little notification bell icon and I promise you will not regret it. In fact, you may even learn a thing or two. Who knows? The only way to find out is to stick around and watch the video all the way through from beginning to end. Okay, now let's dive into the many ways that money printer go brrr. All right. Okay, let's talk about the physical printing of money because I know there's so many geniuses out there. Money? What are you talking about? Money doesn't just fall from the sky. Money is printed from a printer. What are you talking about? I have this dollar bill in my hands and I can feel it. Where do you think it comes from? Before all those keyboard warriors come for me in the comments, let me just get this out of the way. If you're from the US, the literal printing of physical dollars happens at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which is part of the US Treasury. If you're from Canada, the Ottawa-based Canadian banknote company is contracted by the Bank of Canada to facilitate in the physical printing of dollar bills, y'all. And if you're outside of the US and Canada, well, I mean, I can't help you. So I'm just kidding. No, obviously, if you're from another country, that's not the US or Canada, you probably have some other central or private entity that does the money printing for the government, and that's all there is to it. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming out, y'all. I think we debunked this. Where does money printing come from? Well, it comes from a private company that prints money. All right, I thank you all for coming. I'm just kidding. If only it were that easy, right? If only it were that easy. Physical paper money or fiat money is only a small percentage of the total money that is in circulation in any given economy. So what do I mean by that? I mean the physical dollar bills that you have in your wallet or tucked underneath your mattress or in a garbage bag in the garage. Yeah, that's only a small, minute amount of the total money that is in the world. The rest of it is just a bunch of numbers in a database. Ones and zeros. Click, 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 done. That's it. More into that later though. All right, now let's talk about the Federal Reserve and its monetary policy. And let me just preface this by saying I will be focusing strictly on the US economy, the US markets, the US systems, but no matter what country you're from, whether it be Canada, Japan, Brazil, whatever, they all have central banks that do more or less the same thing. Okay, so let's talk about the phenomenon of printing money out of thin air. We've all heard that one way or another, and some of us are thinking, what the hell, what? Printing money out of thin air? What does that even mean? So who is the Federal Reserve? Sounds kind of serious, right? Like the Federal Reserve. Whoa. Government? Whoa. Yes, they are the central banking system of the United States, similar to the Bank of Canada in Canada, or the Bank of Japan in Japan. Making sense? So you all know the big banks in whatever country you're in. Well, think of the central bank of the country, the banks of the banks. The Fed can inject money into the economy via three distinct avenues. Let's get into them. The first avenue is open market operations. And this is one of the most diabolical means to inject money into the system. It's actually criminal. It's crazy to me that this is even legal. It is crazy that more people aren't even talking about this. Like, this is... What? Okay, so here's what happens. So the Federal Reserve, the Fed, will buy short-term government bonds from the bank. It's all good, right? No. Okay, so here's where the magic happens. Here is where the diabolical things start to happen. They buy these government bonds, right? Okay, but with what money? What money they're using? Well, they're using money that they obviously already have, right? Like, if you want to buy something, you kind of have to already have the money, right? No. That is where the idea of printing money out of thin air comes from. They don't have that money. That money never existed before. So when they buy these bonds from the bank, that money never existed. So in this case, instead of a literal money printer going burr, it's just a couple clicks, ones and zeros moving around. Oh, transfer, done. Printing money out of thin air. And now the bank can lend this money that never otherwise existed before in the form of things that we already know, lines of credits, personal loans, mortgages, credit cards, etc. Thus increasing the overall money supply, but more on that later. Next, we have quantitative easing. This is really a more aggressive methodology to printing money. Yes, they buy short-term government bonds, but now they're buying long-term government bonds, they're buying mortgage-backed securities, and they're buying other assets that the bank has in order to stimulate the economy. But in the literal sense, it is a form of money printing. It is a tool that facilitates the printing of money. Next, we have something that we're all accustomed accustomed to, the lowering of interest rates. We all love low interest rates, right? When the Fed lowers interest rates, they are effectively making it more lucrative to borrow money. They're incentivizing businesses and individuals like yourself to borrow money. When interest rates are incredibly low, what do we like to do? We like to buy things, buy now, pay later, low interest rates. We like to buy cars, leasing, low interest rate, 0% purchase financing, buying a house. Oh, the rate's too high.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
The rate's low. I guess I could buy a house now. When rates are lower, it gets people to just lose their mind, lose all sense of rationale, and go out, borrow money that they have no business borrowing, and just buy. And what does that do? That stimulates the economy. Everybody thinks they're rich. Everybody has this level of hubris. Everybody just thinks they're invincible. I'm rich, bitch! So again, when the Fed lowers interest rates, people want to spend more. They want to borrow money. They feel richer. They feel like they have more money, but it is all an illusion. But it happens nonetheless, and it works, and we all love it to an extent. And now we will talk about the money creation by the banks. But before we talk about the money creation by banks, we need to discuss just one tiny little concept. It's called fractional reserve banking. Let me give you the quick 60-second or 120-second rundown of what fractional reserve banking is. First of all, it is criminal that this is even allowed. It feels illegal that this is even happening in the background. And it's even worse that so many people don't even understand what the heck is even going on. Okay, so let's discuss this. Let's just say your friend gives you $100. Cool, right? Yeah, I'm gonna give you this $100, keep it safe, it's mine, it's not yours, but I want you to keep it for safekeeping. Cool. What do you decide to do as the trusted friend that's holding this $100? So instead of having that money sit there, you put $10 aside so you actually keep $10. Oh wow, look at you.
Rude as.
And the remaining $90 you decide to play with it. But it's not your money though. It don't matter. What he doesn't know won't hurt him.
Correct.
You decide to invest $50 safely into an index fund, making you a moderate 5% return. Ooh. $30 buying crypto, and $10 gambling at a casino. And then when your friend comes along and asks, yeah, how's my money doing? I don't need it, but how's it doing? Yeah, it's cool, yeah, it's doing well. Yeah, I have it. It's all good. Yeah, see? I got it. No worries. Knowing full well that you only have $10 of the $100, but he doesn't need the money right now, so it's all good. That is fractional reserve banking in a nutshell. So you as a depositor, when you deposit $1,000 into the bank only keeps about 10%, probably even less by now. I think at one point they didn't have to keep any money. Like if you deposited $1,000, I think it was back in like COVID, they could literally just reinvest all of that money. Criminal! But for all intents and purposes, let's just say, yes, you deposit $1,000, the bank keeps $100 sitting in reserves, and then the other 90%, so the other $900, they invest, they buy bonds, they do whatever the hell they want to do, and that's just what they do. They go in their database, we have $1,000, we add another $900, and then that extra money goes into debt issuance. The bank effectively created new money.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not even a scheme per se. It's
And yeah, that's essentially money printing in the literal and non-literal sense. Let's recap. We have money printing that comes in three forms. We have the physical printing of currency, we have Federal Reserve and monetary policy, and we have the printing of money by the banks. Now when you hear people say money isn't real, I think you have a much better understanding after this video, hopefully, that yeah, money doesn't sound so real anymore. It's a lot. We've all heard about the increasing wealth disparity in any given country, right? Well, the printing of money is what facilitates this. Meaning, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because what happens when money is printed?
Capitalism, God's way of determining who is smart and who is poor.
I know I touched on a lot of concepts, and thinking back to what I talked about, I wish I could have gone into a lot more detail into a lot of the concepts, but I mean, no one's watching an hour-long video. Nobody's even gonna be watching this short little 10-minute video. So if there's any concepts or any ideas that you don't understand that you want me to go into more in depth on, then please let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think about this whole idea of money printing and what you think about money. Like, what did you know about money before watching this video, and what do you now know about money after watching this video? Because I know when I first learned about money, like really understood money, I was like, oh my God! Why aren't they teaching this stuff in school? Why do I have to go looking for this information, this valuable information? This is literally what makes the world go around. Why do I gotta go looking for this information 20, 30 years later? It is asinine. perhaps I'll make a series on this thing called money, because money is important. If you don't understand money, you don't understand how the world works. If you don't understand how the world works, you're never gonna make it in this thing called life. Yeah, maybe I'll make a series on that, and I think it will be extremely valuable, not only for myself, but for you as well. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I thank you all for the opportunity to share my thoughts and my insights. I greatly appreciate it as always, and I look forward to the next one. BKO.